Section 15E, Electronic Messaging. 15.26, Email Etiquette. Email is defined as the electronic transmission of information over computer-based messaging systems. Technological advancements have increased opportunities for more timely, efficient, and effective communications, resulting in the explosive growth of email use throughout the Air Force. To uphold a commitment to secure messaging, the Air Force has established guidelines to be used by all Air Force members. Rule 1. Be clear and concise. Make sure the subject line communicates your purpose. Be specific and avoid ambiguous titles. Lead with the most important information. If the goal is to answer a question, then reiterate the question at the top of the page. Use topic sentences if the email has multiple paragraphs. Be brief and to the point. Use bold, italic, or color when necessary to emphasize key points. Choose readable fonts, 12-point or larger when possible. Rule 2. Watch your tone. Be polite. Think of the message as a personal conversation. Be careful with humor, irony, and sarcasm. Electronic postings are perceived much more harshly than they are intended, mainly because the receiver cannot see the sender's body language, hear the tone of voice, or observe any other nonverbal cues that could help interpret the intent of the communication. Do not write using all capital letters. This is the email equivalent of shouting and is considered rude. Keep the email clean and professional. Email is easily forwarded. Harassing, intimidating, abusive, or offensive material is unacceptable. Harassing, intimidating, abusive, or offensive material is unacceptable. Rule 3. Be selective about what message you send. Do not discuss controversial, sensitive, for official use only, classified, personal, Privacy Act, or unclassified information that requires special handling. Remember, operation security, even unclassified information, when brought together with other information, can create problems when in the wrong hands. Do not create or forward junk mail. Do not create or send chain letters. And do not use email for personal ads. Rule 4. Be selective about who gets your message. Reply to specific addressees to give those not interested a break. In other words, only use reply all sparingly. Get permission before using large mail groups. Double-check the address before mailing, especially when selecting from a global list where many people have similar last names. Rule 5. Check your attachments and support material. Ensure all information is provided as intended in your message to keep from having to send a follow-up email. Before sending, ensure you have attached the attachments. This is a very common mistake. When applicable, cite all quotes, references, and sources as required under copyright and license agreements. Rule 6. Keep your email under control. Lock or sign off the computer when you leave your workstation. If possible, create mailing lists to save time. Read and delete files daily. Create an organized directory on your hard drive to keep mailbox files at a minimum. Ensure record copies are properly identified and stored in an approved filing system. Acknowledge important or sensitive messages with a courtesy reply to sender. When away from your email for an extended period of time, consider setting up an auto-reply message. 15.27. Government Communication Systems. Government-provided messaging systems are for official use and limited authorized personal use only. All government communication systems are subject to monitoring, interception, search, and seizure for all authorized purposes. Individuals must understand that they may be held responsible for the content of their electronic messages and must ensure that messages adhere to acceptable use of Internet-based capabilities. Individuals are responsible for maintaining sent and received information according to Air Force Records Management directives. Electronic messages may be subject to requests under the Freedom of Information Act, litigation, and court orders. Be sure to adhere to local policy when sending electronic messages to mail distribution lists. Do not auto-forward electronic messages from the .mil domain to a commercial Internet service provider, and do not indiscriminately release electronic messaging addresses to the public. Identity management. A vital element for messaging security is the implementation of public key infrastructure and common access cards for identity management. Public key infrastructure allows for the authentication of the sender identity using a digital signature and the encryption/decryption of the message. Users of Department of Defense electronic messaging are directed to follow current guidance for the use of public key infrastructure to sign and encrypt email. Defense Message System. The Defense Message System is the core messaging system of record for the Department of Defense and the Air Force. The Defense Message System is a flexible, commercial, off-the-shelf-based application that provides messaging services to all Department of Defense users, including deployed tactical users, and interfaces with other U.S. government agencies, branches of service, and defense contractors. Air Force Organizational Messaging. Organization Simple Mail Transfer Protocol mailboxes may be used for all organizational messaging requirements unless usage of the Defense Message System is required in support of combatant command responsibilities. Privacy Act information. The Privacy Act of 1974 requires agencies to provide safeguards to ensure the security and confidentiality of records and to protect individuals against an invasion of personal privacy. Exercise caution before transmitting personal information over email to ensure the message is adequately safeguarded. When information is sensitive and personal, email is not the proper way for transmitting this information. When sending personal information over email within the Department of Defense, ensure there is an official need and all addressees are authorized to receive personal information under the Privacy Act. For official use only is added to the beginning of the subject line, followed by the subject. The following statement is applied at the beginning of the email. This email contains for official use only information, which must be protected under the Privacy Act and AFI 33-332. Do not indiscriminately apply this statement to emails. Use only in situations when you are actually transmitting personal information. 15.28. The Internet. Use of the web or web-based technologies is a technique for obtaining and disseminating information worldwide. The web or Internet provides the capability of quickly and efficiently disseminating information to and accessing information from a variety of governmental and non-governmental sources. Web content must be managed in compliance with all information management policies and procedures. Use of Internet resources by government employees. The Internet provides an indispensable source for information from a variety of governmental and non-governmental sources. The Air Force's goal, within acceptable risk levels, is to provide maximum accessibility to Internet resources for personnel requiring access for official business. Appropriate use. Government-provided hardware and software are for official use and limited authorized personal use only. Limited personal use must be of reasonable duration and frequency, approved by the supervisor, and not adversely affect performance of official duties, overburden systems, or reflect adversely on the Air Force or the Department of Defense. Inappropriate use. Using the Internet for other than official or authorized purposes may result in adverse administrative or disciplinary action. The following uses are specifically prohibited. Use of federal government communication systems for unauthorized personal use. Uses that would adversely reflect on the Department of Defense or the Air Force, such as chain letters, unofficial soliciting or selling except on authorized Internet-based capabilities established for such use. Unauthorized storing, processing, displaying, sending, or otherwise transmitting prohibited content, pornography, sexually explicit or sexually oriented material, nudity, hate speech, or ridicule of others on the basis of protected class, e.g., race, creed, religion, color, age, sex, disability, national origin, gambling, illegal weapons, militancy, extremist activities, terrorist activities, use for personal gain, and any other content or activities that are illegal or inappropriate. Storing or processing classified information on any system not approved for classified processing. Using copyrighted material in violation of the rights of the owner of the copyrights. Consult with the servicing staff judge advocate for fair use advice. Unauthorized use of the account or identity of another person or organization. Viewing, changing, damaging, deleting, or blocking access to another user's files or communications without appropriate authorization or permission. attempting to circumvent or defeat security or modifying security systems without prior authorization or permission, such as for legitimate system testing or security research. Obtaining, installing, copying, storing, or using software in violation of the appropriate vendor's license agreement. Permitting an unauthorized individual access to a government-owned or government-operated system. Modifying or altering the network operating system. Modifying or altering the network operating system or system configuration without first obtaining written permission from the administrator of that system. Copying and posting of, for official use only, controlled unclassified information, critical information, and/or personally identifiable information on Department of Defense owned, operated, or controlled publicly accessible sites or on commercial internet-based capabilities. Downloading and installing freeware, shareware, or any other software product without designated accrediting authority approval. Malicious logic protection. Protect information systems from malicious logic, virus, worm, Trojan horse attacks by applying a mix of human and technological preventative measures. Scan approved removable media devices for viruses before and after use if scans are not automated. Report any suspected information system abnormalities, antivirus errors, virus alerts, unexpected file size increases, unexpected disk access, strange activity by applications immediately to the Organizational Information Assurance Officer. Operation security and the Internet. When accessing Internet-based capabilities using federal government resources in an authorized personal or unofficial capacity, individuals shall comply with Operation Security Guidance as stated in AFI 10-701, Operation Security, and shall not represent the policies or official position of the Air Force or the Department of Defense.